It's here, the epidemic among us. Carl Pendley at 6. From KSLA, this is Eyewitness News with George Jones and Sylvia Rachal. Al Bolton with the weather and Bob Griffin with sports.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for this segment of News 90.
Coming up in this half hour, Bossier City says it has a better ambulance service.
The Space Shuttle Challenger satellite is having some problems.
And a new ointment for the treatment of herpes has been invented by a couple of Texas researchers. But first in the news is the weather. A large area of Louisiana, Sylvia, is under a tornado watch, and for that, let's go immediately to Al Bolton.
Thanks, George. The tornado watch area does not include the immediate Shreveport-Bossier area. It does include northeastern Louisiana, central Louisiana, just about all of southeastern Louisiana. It includes the Louisiana parishes of Sabine, Natchitoches, Wynne, Jackson, Ouachita, Union, Morehouse, Richland, Caldwell, LaSalle, Grant, and Vernon. This tornado watch is in effect until 10 tonight. Taking a quick glance at the radar now, the most significant activity is a severe thunderstorm up through southeastern Arkansas. This produced 2-inch hail as it moved through the town of Strong, Arkansas. The storm is moving toward the north at about 50 miles per hour. We'll have more details later.
It took all day, but a jury has been chosen for the capital murder trial of Jimmy Glass. He's one of 2 men charged with the December murder of Newt and Earlene Brown of Webster Parish. The jury is made up of 7 women and 5 men. They'll be back in court tomorrow morning to hear opening statements from the Bossier Webster District Attorney Henry Brown. And the lawyers for Glass, Mary Irwin, was in Lafayette today, and we'll have his full report at 6 o'clock. Ambulance service in Bossier City is better today than it was 1 week ago. At least that's the opinion of Mayor Marvin Anding. Since Shreveport Ambulance was given a 1-year contract to serve Bossier, the service has upgraded its units and is responding quicker.
The response time since Friday morning has been almost 1/2 of what it was prior to that, simply because they've got better coverage of the city. That's going to continue. In my judgment, it can only improve with those things that have been done and have been promised already. The service can only improve.
Anding also said the city will continue to study ways to improve service.
Edwin Edwards opened his campaign headquarters in Shreveport today and used it as a launching pad for a renewed attack on Dave Treen's fiscal policies. The former governor, who is campaigning to return to the mansion, challenged Governor Treen's contention that the state's financial woes are due to falling oil and gas revenues. He spoke with Channel 12's Ray Post.
I will have to undo what Governor Treen unwisely did, and that is go back to the tax base we had in 1980. If he had not tampered with it, we would not be having the fiscal problems we're having today. Our universities wouldn't be in jeopardy. Programs would not be cut. Road construction would not be stopped. Things would be moving and getting done, and I think that we would have seen that while the state would be having some tough times, at least we would not be broke and looking at huge deficits.
Of course, they say they're getting more huge all the time because of continued declines in oil and gas revenues. Even doing as you say, don't you anticipate having to make some tremendous cuts or raising taxes someplace?
Let me emphasize again, Ray, that that's a myth and a misconception. There's not a continued decline in oil and gas revenue. The oil and gas revenue since Treen has been governor has been over $300 million a year. Every year, more than the highest year it was when I was governor. That is not the problem. The problem has been 108 new programs that cost $188 million a year, and the reduction of the state's tax base, which cost another $225 million a year. He needs to address that problem in this session of the legislature so that the state does not go broke. He needs to address it so that we can adopt a balanced budget. If he doesn't, Ray, then all I can say is I'll sadly and unhappily deal with the problem next year. But I hope he takes care of the problem for me.
NASA has $100 million worth of trouble. The space agency has regained command of that communications satellite deployed by the Space Shuttle Challenger last night. The expensive piece of hardware was spinning out of control. However, the problem is now stabilizing its orbit. NASA has expressed guarded optimism they'll be able to do the job. If not, the future of the shuttle program could be in doubt. The satellite is supposed to be a communications link for upcoming space missions.
If you're unemployed, there may be help on the way for your medical bills. Health and Human Services Secretary Margaret Heckler says the administration is working on a health insurance plan. No details on the package, but Heckler said the insurance could be enacted by the end of summer. Texas horse race betting has been okayed by a Senate committee. Even if the measure is passed, however, by the legislature, it will require a statewide vote and local option balloting. Opposition forces have promised a fight against pari-mutuel betting.
And coming up, if you've ever been asked to take a lie detector test, you'll be interested in part 2 of our series, The Pinocchio Principle.
And we'll have new hope for babies born prematurely.
Thatch is the dead and decaying material on your lawn, and thatch may be killing your grass. But the Snapper Thatcherizer can help save your lawn, while Snapper's Spring Spectacular saves you money. Buy a Snapper self-propelled walk-behind mower and get a $52.95 Thatcherizer free. Buy any Snapper riding mower and get a $78.95 Thatcherizer free. All during Snapper's Spring Spectacular at your local Snapper dealer.
Stevens Tractor Company, R.W. Hodge & Sons, and Nelson Supply.
Computers for the home are really popular items. But which one's right for you? These? Powerful but very expensive. These? You want more software cartridges. This? Can't expand or program it right away. Which leaves this, the home computer from Texas Instruments. Memory, programmability, expandability, price. Plus, a full range of software cartridges. This is the one.
The home computer from Texas Instruments.
Now for your arthritis. The aspirin you take once in 8 hours. Bayer timed release aspirin. One dose is 1,300 milligrams strong. Take it in the morning. It's timed release to give you long-lasting relief during the day. Bayer timed release works on minor arthritis pain fast, and it lasts. Take it at bedtime. It lets you sleep through the night. Now for your arthritis pain, the 8-hour aspirin. Bayer timed release aspirin.
Have you ever wondered why Six Smokes and Stokes the stomach's better than anyone else? Because they make them from scratch. They don't use any pre-mixed steak stuff. They put in everything one at a time and mix it up. So it's creamier, thicker, richer, more chocolatey, more vanilla-y, more strawberry-y, more so much.
And Stark shakes and malts are on sale all this month for only 89 cents. It's the best shake you'll ever taste.
Herpes, a disease some say has reached epidemic proportions in the United States, remains incurable. Researchers in Texas think they've come up with something that will help. It will not cure the illness, but it will bring great relief. Joan Weekland has the story.
This young woman has herpes.
Last Tuesday, I'd come down with fever blisters all over my mouth, and I was running fever and sick and needed some relief.
Sharon read about a research project testing a new herpes treatment and volunteered for it.
After the first 3 hours, I noticed a remarkable change. The fever had gone down, the swelling had gone down, and it works. I know it works.
Pharmacist Randy Robin and Dr. David Garrett, both of Southeast Texas, are the developers of Herpestat, an ointment that appears to cut the length of herpes infections in half.
The ointment is based with a Vaseline-type base or a petrolatum base with folic acid incorporated into it. We have found that for some reason or another, it works very well in the viral component in stopping the fever blisters or herpetic lesions.
Herpestat may bring relief to millions of people who suffer through periodic reinfections of herpes. According to the National VD Hotline, no medications on the market have proven effective in treating those recurrences. Garrett and Robin say their ointment is unusually safe and seems to work equally well on oral herpes, genital herpes, and shingles. While it's important to realize that herpes cannot be cured, this new medication, Herpestat, may prove itself effective in controlling recurrences. Robin and Garrett hope to have a medication on the market within 1 to 2 years.
Herpes not only affects humans. Interferon has been shipped from Houston to Austria to treat Lipizzaner horses that have been dying of the virus. The 36th horse from the famed white dancing breed died today. Veterinarians believe inbreeding has helped weaken the horse's immune system against herpes. The horse that died today had been on interferon since Friday. Authorities refused to comment on the drug's effectiveness.
Well, after we pay some bills, Sylvia, Al Bolton and more rain both on the way.
No real bad weather for the Shreveport area. Got just a moment. The tornado warning is in effect until 5:30 this evening for Union and Calhoun counties in Arkansas. Tornado is sighted about a public 5 miles north-northeast of El Dorado, moving toward the north at about 45 miles per hour. So we do have a chance for showers in our area tonight.
Okay.
See this soil? How beautifully rich it is? Filled with all the nutrients you need for growing bigger and better vegetables. Hi, I'm Dean Lee, and I'd like to show you several ways to build fabulous soil just like this, using a Troy-Bilt rototiller. Our compost garden leftovers and other organic matter into the soil. It's a great way to start. Turn under a cover crop like winter rye. Fill under weeds with regular cultivation to add more organic material to your garden while keeping it neat and clean. You'll get wonderful results. A garden that'll give you the best tasting vegetables ever. You too can look forward to an abundant harvest just like this. Here's how.
Special off-season savings are in effect now on all Troy-Bilt tiller models and attachments. So write or call for information and your free Troy-Bilt catalog. Call toll-free 1-800-453-9000. That's 1-800-453-9000 right now. Operators are standing by.
We were outnumbered 1,000 to 1, but we had to fight back. So we gave it our best shot. Hot shot, indoor fogger, the ultimate weapon. In just 4 hours, it defeated that army of bugs. And when we returned to the home front, the war was over. Our house is peaceful now. Yours can be too. Just give it your best shot. Hot shot, indoor fogger.
This Condor vinyl cushion floor is so easy to install with this AccuMarker, and it's just $3.95 a square yard at Sutherlands right now. Also Forecast, $1.99 a square yard, and Profile, $4.95 a square yard.
A fairly common cause of blindness is a detached retina. It's a medical condition which can be brought on by a number of things. Our medical expert, Dr. Art Uline, has some suggestions on how we can protect ourselves from this problem.
In 1981, about 34,000 Americans were hospitalized because of detached retinas. It's one of the more common causes for loss of sight. It's also one of the most poorly understood. The retina is a transparent layer of tissue lining the inner surface of the eye. It translates light impulses into messages carried to the brain via the optic nerve. The retina can be detached by a jarring blow to the head. Boxing champion Sugar Ray Leonard's career ended when he suffered a detached retina in a championship fight at the age of 26. But most of the time, trauma plays no role in retinal detachment, and half the time, the patients are over the age of 65. Often, with age, the clear jelly-like fluid which fills the eye becomes attached to the retina and begins to shrink, pulling the retina with it, away from its source of nourishment and blood supply. The next most common cause is a spontaneous tear or break in the retinal surface. Fluid seeps through the tear and under the retina, pulling it away from the outer wall of the eye. Eye doctors treat these tiny tears as emergencies, using lasers or cryosurgery to seal the tears and keep the retina from actually detaching itself from the eyeball. If treated early enough, the threat of blindness can be averted this way. Generally, some symptoms will precede the actual detachment of the retina by several weeks or months, although sometimes the retina will come loose only hours after the first symptoms. So don't delay. If you ever develop dark areas of vision or blind spots, if you see floating spots or hairs or flashes of light, the best thing to do is visit an ophthalmologist right away. Early treatment could save your sight. In our next report, we'll talk about another cause of retinal separation, cataract operations. we'll show you an amazing surgical procedure used to reattach the retina after it has come loose. I'm Dr. Art Uline.
Dr. Art Uline will have the final part of that report Thursday at 5.
Nearly 1 million Americans will be asked to take a lie detector test this year. And if you're one of them, what are your rights? As we continue our 5 o'clock series, reporter Larry Connors looks into this legal question.
Polygraph is big business and growing bigger. More and more companies, large and small, are using the polygraph to cut down on thefts by employees, to protect company secrets. The U.S. government also makes extensive use of the polygraph for internal affairs and clandestine operations. In fact, the government is using even more polygraphs now, attempting to stop leaks to news reporters. For some government agencies and many companies, prospective employees must take a polygraph as a condition of employment. It is a much easier and faster way to check someone's background and to keep checking on the employees.
Talked to one employer who stated, well, we give them every 6 months just to prove everybody's honest.
If an employer asks you to take a polygraph, what are your rights? The employer will tell you that it is strictly voluntary.
It's voluntary that, okay, if I don't take this test, and if I don't submit to the polygraph in any form, then I will be fired. And we've seen that happen over and over again. So if you refuse to take the test and then you don't get the job, or you refuse to take the test and you're fired from the job, as I said, you really don't have much that you can do from that point.
Myself and 22 are stopping a guy on a bike.
If, like this man, you become a target of a criminal investigation, you may be asked to take a polygraph. To encourage you to take the polygraph, you will often be told this is a chance to clear yourself, to prove that you are telling the truth.
When it comes to using polygraph evidence in the courtroom, you enter a very complicated arena. The rules of evidence and admission vary from state to state. When you do get polygraph evidence inside a state courtroom, it's under very strict guidelines. When it comes to using polygraph evidence in a federal court, the law is very clear. No way.
Even if the courts routinely allowed the polygraph, prosecutors would not necessarily be anxious to use it. U.S. Prosecutor Thomas Dittmeyer.
I've got confidence into them up to a point, but not enough confidence in them to send somebody to jail.
If a prosecutor is worried about the polygraph putting an innocent person in jail, and if the courts view the polygraph with suspicion, what value is the polygraph to law enforcement? Well, the answer is it's another tool in the crime-fighting arsenal, like a fingerprint. But even here, there's a difference.
I mean, a fingerprint is a fingerprint, and yeah, those things are considered reliable. Blood tests are considered reliable. They're very scientific procedures that are followed with blood tests, and but they haven't recognized the reliability of the polygraph, and I think properly so. I think there's just too many variables.
I thought if they're going to charge me with a crime, we'll let the courts decide if I'm guilty, not a machine.
In our next report, a man who lost his job when he refused to take a lie detector test. I'm Larry Connors.
For the second time in less than a week, a Condor chick has been hatched in captivity. Today's arrival occurred at the San Diego Zoo. The baby bird is reported doing fine. About 30 miles away at the Wild Animal Park, the first of the rare birds to be hatched in captivity is having some troubles. Scientists say the condor is losing energy. They feel the 6-day-old bird may be having problems developing its immunity system.
Oh, well, all can't always go well as with our weather today.
Yeah, the weather hasn't been that great.
No, it hasn't. Here's Al Bolton to fill us in. Al?
Well, it is a storm season approaching. In fact, there have been some severe storms in the past few days over much of northern and central Louisiana. These are very heavy clouds over eastern Louisiana up into southeastern Arkansas. There are severe thunderstorms occurring underneath those clouds. This is the precipitation pattern at the present time. We can see the heavy rains through southeastern Arkansas, the thunderstorms now occurring there. And over a good part of southeastern Louisiana. Elsewhere, some patchy areas of snow up through portions of the central plains, extending up into parts of Iowa, on into southwestern Wisconsin. A low-pressure disturbance is now centered over southern Missouri. This trails a cold front down through eastern Louisiana. The front passed through the Freeport area around mid-morning today, and that's been the reason for our northerly winds and the cooling trend during the day. A tornado watch is in effect until 10 o'clock tonight for northeastern Louisiana, central Louisiana, portion of southwestern Louisiana, just about all of southeastern Louisiana, on into Mississippi. It does not include Caddo or Bossier parishes. Another tornado watch is also in effect until 8 o'clock tonight. This goes a little farther eastward into southeastern Mississippi and covers a good part of Alabama. That tornado watch in effect until late tonight. No report of any tornadoes within that watch area up to the present time. Let's look at our weather drawing today. This one is sent to us by Christy White. Christy attends Friendship Academy here in Shreveport. Looks like a nice spring day. A young lady watering some flowers there. Let's take a look now at the forecast for the area. First, current readings. There we are. We're going to look at the radar now. We're indicating the most significant activity up to southeastern Arkansas. This is a severe thunderstorm moving rapidly toward the north at some 50 miles per hour. A tornado was sighted by the public about 5 miles north-northeast of El Dorado around 4:30 this afternoon. That storm is moving toward the north at about 40 miles per hour. We've had no report of any property damage or injuries from that tornado that was sighted just northeast of El Dorado. The temperatures over the area today, the low readings early this morning at a 61-degree reading in the Shreveport area. Today's high was 76. That was around mid-morning. Just a trace of rain. Temperature now is 64 degrees. Relative humidity is 78%. Barometer 29.77 and rising. Wind is out of the northwest at about 15 miles per hour. So the tornado watch is in effect for northeastern and central Louisiana until 10 tonight.
Thank you, Alan. Bob Griffin will have sports for us coming up next.
Unlike most oil companies, Exxon gives you a choice. You can pay with our credit card or pay with their card and get an instant application for one of ours. Or pay cash and save. At participating Exxon stations, the choice is yours. Exxon, quality you can count on.
I have to admit it's frustrating having a bladder control problem.
Because my real problem is finding the protection I need.
You need Depend for discreet, effective protection. Like this Depend undergarment. With a form-fitting shape and advanced absorbent system, Depend puts protection where it's most effective. Try regular or extra absorbency for bladder control problems.
The name says it all.
Depend at drug and healthcare stores.
Visiting with friends is a Southern tradition and a favorite pastime. Visit 10 minutes with a friend for less than $2.49. Dial 1+ and save. This Saturday, call anywhere within the state for less than $2.49. Share your Saturday. It's a custom worth keeping. South Central Bell.
The essence of the new Thunderbird is performance. You ask, it answers. Acceleration, handling, braking. You demand, Thunderbird responds as if it were a part of you. Your sixth sense on the road. Thunderbird for 83. Before we made it beautiful, we made it right. Have you driven a Ford lately?
Now to Bob Griffin and the Boys of Summer.
And it is that time, would you believe it? Baseball is here. And that's my favorite expression. It's that time of the year. Baseball is here.
Only time will tell.
Oh, that's terrible. Anyway, it is the time of the year when baseball is here. And this afternoon, the New York Mets beat Philadelphia by a score of 2-0. Pittsburgh over St. Louis by a score of 7-1. And over in the American League, Toronto beat Boston 7-1. There was another game scheduled this afternoon in the National League, Montreal and Chicago. That game was postponed because of rain. Well, the Houston Astros open their season tonight when they host the Dodgers in the Astrodome. Now, the Rangers got things underway last night as they powered their way past Chicago by a score of 5-3. Now, Billy Sample of Texas hit a looping low fly to center for the Rangers, but Rudy Law made a shoestring catch to show that Chicago could play defense. And then Mike Reichert of the Rangers, he homered it, and that tied it at 3-3 in the sixth inning as the Rangers come from behind. And then Larry Perry drills a 400-foot shot for the Rangers to break the tie, and the Rangers went on to win last night by a score of 5-3. Well, in basketball, it's a game they'll talk about for a long time, and when it was over, the team of destiny, as they've pegged themselves, North Carolina State, beat Phi Gamma Slamma, the Houston Cougars, on the last-second desperation shot to win the NCAA National Basketball Championship.
Earl Bailey gave North Carolina State a 6-0 lead. He scored 15 first-half points. Houston rallied. Michael Young missed, but battled for the rebound and scored. Cougars led for the first time 7-6. Terry Gannon hit 2 quick baskets midway in the first half. Wolfpack built a 10-point lead. Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon slam dunked on the rebound for Houston, then made a clean block of Sidney Lowe's shot. Clyde Drexler of the Cougars picked up his 4th foul late in the first half. Houston rallied early in the second half. Olajuwon hit a jumper. Alvin Franklin had a hot hand. Houston led by 7, but Derek Wittenberg's jumper from the corner sliced the Houston lead to 2. Wittenberg hit another long jumper to tie with 1:50 to play. With 4 seconds left, Wittenberg missed from long range, but Lorenzo Charles tipped it in to win the NCAA championship. Final, North Carolina State 54, Houston 52.
And they are going to be talking about that game for a long time, wondering whether Guy Lewis did the right thing in going into the stall, whether he should have continued to attack, why they didn't jam all the time and everything. It's a kind of game that people love to talk about, and they will talk about for a long time to come. Okay, Sylvia, many of the lady golfers put a blast on Jane Stevenson a few years back when she posed for a golf magazine, slightly less than dressed for the street. But it seems now that more and more of the lady pros are beginning to feel that showing that there is beauty surrounding their sport is not such a bad idea after all.
The women on the LPGA Tour usually start preparing for a round of golf here on the practice green. But now, for many of them, preparation begins here, back in the locker room, with Jacob. He's a New York high-fashion hair designer who's become cosmetic guru to nearly all the golfers on the Women's Pro Tour. He got his start 3 years ago with Hollis Stacy at a South Carolina golf resort.
They set me up in the locker room to do their hair, and before I knew it, I was doing 20 girls over a period of 2 days.
Now he travels to LPGA tourneys once a month to do golfers' hair. It's all part of the appearance-conscious image women's golf is trying to portray.
Sex sells, and let's face it, you know, people want to come out and see a lot of attractive people. And if it helps to sell tickets, I'm all for it.
But beyond that, golfers like Dale Eggling say it makes them feel and play better.
All done.
Okay.
If you come out looking like death warmed over, I mean, it doesn't make you feel very good. But if you look good on the outside, it helps you to feel better on the inside, too.
I think if you can get a player and have her look really great on the first tee, and if she's looking really super when she comes off the 18th, I know it's pretty successful. So you really have to take into consideration that you have to give them a hairstyle or a haircut that really works, that is really low maintenance and is very simple and will really, it's geared toward their lifestyle.
Jacob may never get famous as the hairdresser of female jocks, but he does enjoy being around these unique athletes. As for gratitude, he seeks none.
I get enough of it just knowing that the girls are coming back and my appointment book is filled each week that I come out here. And just knowing that they really enjoy the service and that I'm really taking some part in changing the image of the LPGA women and really making them look terrific and feel terrific and giving them an extra edge of confidence and going out to be winners.
I'm Steve Pacenti reporting.
And if you don't think people are concerned, you have to see the number of hair dryers in the Dallas Cowboys locker room after a game.
I can imagine.
That's sports.
Oh.
I wouldn't make any cracks about it.
I'd like to see. I'll try. Okay. And now we go to the Channel 12 newsroom and check in with Don Owen to see what's coming up at 6 o'clock. Don?
Well, Sylvia, the Shreveport Fire Department has found the evidence. An East Kings Highway restaurant was deliberately set on fire. The question now is who started that blaze and why. At 6, we'll also be talking about your children. Carl Pendley reports the drug problem is as serious in the Arklatex as it is in New York City. And Barry Irwin will be reporting from Lafayette on the murder trial of Jimmy Glass. The jury has been selected, and opening arguments are now expected to begin tomorrow morning. We'll have those reports and more area news in 30 minutes, but right now it's time to get the latest on the shuttle and other world news, so stay tuned for Dan Rather in New York.
Who will win the race for the Oscars? On Tuesday's Pia magazine, Paul Newman reveals why the verdict should be for his portrayal of a down-and-out lawyer.
He's not the cool, collected type. He's frightened. He's on the edge of things all the time. And I'm having a wonderful time.
Then see on-the-job training at Hamburger High School, a real high school where students major in McDonald's. That's all on Tuesday's Pia magazine.
You go back to where you came from and send me a Jew.
Archie hires a lawyer tonight.